proving that I quite literally will watch anything with Brian Cox in it. This is Mending the Line. It's currently available on Netflix and it does not have audio description. But they threw this up there recently. I saw it float into the top 10 and I was like, what is this? Oh, it has Brian Cox in it. Well, I have to watch that. I will eventually watch his entire filmography. I feel like it. But problem with character actors is that they do like 10 films a year. Anyway, so this film has a lead actor that is less famous than the rest of the cast, but we've got Brian Cox, Wes Studi, Patricia Heaton, and Irene Bedard. If that last name doesn't spark your fancy, let me just tell you that she paints with all the colors of the wind. Yeah, how about that now? Anyway, she's done other things too, but yeah. So this this is a veteran movie, a war veteran drama, and it's about a youngish soldier who has experienced a great trauma, and he's sent off to a new facility. He keeps trying to rehab because he wants to eventually get back in, and of course he's part of his rehab is that his hands don't quite work the way they're supposed to. So he has to kind of keep using his hands and everything, and obviously there's the whole mental recuperation therapy part of it all. And sort of at the same VA hospital that he's going through his rehab, there's an older gentleman that swings by, and they share the same doctor, and she's a little worried about him sort of living out on his own and at his age, and he recommends to the younger guy to go learn how to fly fish, which is what Brian Cox's character does. And so he heads out and learns fly fishing because it's part of his therapy, but really, he learns a lot more. It's one of those movies, where you learn how to just become a good person, and yeah, and men heal together and share stories, and just a warm and fuzzy movie like that. Really, honestly, this is just like the least offensive thing that I think Netflix could put out. It's not Netflix original. I don't know who made this, but it's not a faith movie. Like, they don't sit around. It feels like it could have been, but it's not. They don't have like a conversation where they're like, and we're all here today because of God. No, none of that happens. But it feels like one. Like, it feels adjacent to one. It's just a nice movie. It feels like it's like AARP movies for grown-ups nominee. It feels like one of those. Like, it could be that. The cast is really good, and I think Brian Cox does a really nice job in this role. I keep wanting him to get an Oscar nomination before his career ends, because he's always been a solid actor, and Succession just tapped into that. And now more people know who he is, and it's like, great. We're sitting here in 2024, and we've already got, most people are doing their Oscar predictions, and people are already predicting two of the Succession boys in categories. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, and Kieran Culkin for that Jesse Eisenberg movie, The Real Pain, A Real Pain. And where's Brian Cox? Like, why aren't we getting him the roles? This dude's been around forever. One of the things that I love is that he's not a method actor. He just walks on the set and he's just good. Like, you just have the ability to read dialogue and read it well, or you don't. And he's paired here with somebody like Wes Studi, who I really loved when he was opposite Dale Dickey in A Love Song. that was I ended up picking Dale Dickey for my best actress that year, and Wes Studi was in my top 10 supporting actor performances. So I think he's always been an underrated actor. I do believe he does have an honorary Oscar. So he, I think people feel like he's covered. So, but really two hardworking, long-standing character actors in this film that both deserve recognition. The problem is it just doesn't have audio description. So there are lots of times where it breaks away and you're just probably looking at the scenery, watching them fly fish. I don't know. It could literally could be anything. I have no idea. I did think the score was nice. It's not really a memorable score. It's not like I'm sitting here going like, wow, that score from Mending the Line. But when you're in it, you're like, oh, somebody wrote a score here. This is nice music, you know, that'll be thanklessly never remembered because I don't think anybody's watching this movie, but um I did enjoy it. And sort of like when the film goes into credits is really when you kind of hear the score, and you know, because there's doesn't it's not interrupted by dialogue, so you don't have to, it doesn't like disappear, it's not sound mixed. And it's just a nice score. Whoever wrote it is just, yeah, you write nice music, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm mostly positive on this film. The only thing that I didn't like was the fact that I don't have audio description, which means I don't know several key factors within this film. I mean, there are plot points in this film that I don't know. You know, I've got nothing. The main guy hands Brian Cox a birthday present, and it seems to somewhat disturb him or move him or something. And I don't know what it is. You know, got nothing. And he's like, "What am I gonna do with this?" And he's like, "I don't know. You can hang on your wall. You know, you got a kid. You said you can give to him. Like, what is it that you could hang on your wall or give to your kid? Huh? Is it a painting? Is it a picture? Is it a deer head? Like, what did you give this man?" I have no idea because there's no point of reference to that. So I got nothing in that scene. Um, there are scenes where they're veterans, so they have flashbacks, and you know, and Brian Cox's character also has a little bit of an alcohol problem and kind of blacks out, and you know, goes on a little bit of a binge when he a couple times in the film, and you know, winds up in places, but it's like you don't even know really where he is because I have no, again, I have no description to be able to follow that at all in this film. So it's a film that in theory I enjoyed. In theory, I would give this. I feel like the audio description would just shape the film in a way where I would be able to land on a more positive grade. Um, but in general, I would recommend this film to a sighted audience. I just wouldn't recommend this to a blind and visually impaired audience, of which that's a chunk of my audience. Because it's tough to recommend this unless there's a reason for you to watch it. My reason was I watch Brian Cox films. Uh, I just do. He's my favorite actor, and I sort of have the intention of watching all of his films by the time, you know, like it's just like a personal thing. I just made that choice. So I figured I'd review it. Um, but yeah, I couldn't in good conscience actually say to a blind person, yeah, you'll be fine and enjoy this film, because I don't know that you will. Maybe a blind war veteran will find something here without the audio description because it'll connect with them on a personal level. I don't know. It's so tough to predict or think about any of those things because we should have accessibility in film and in cinema and in these things. And it's even possible, the frustrating thing is it's possible that there is audio description to this and it just wasn't passed to Netflix. So, because it's not a Netflix original, so I have no idea that there, whether or not that actually happened or not. It's possible that there could be audio description that exists for this film, and just nobody bothered to give it to Netflix. So, but anyway, that's Mending the Line. Sadly, my grade here is going to be unwatchable. Um, but I will say, for a sighted audience, uh, this is not a bad pick for you. Even IMDb, which usually kind of floats maybe a little bit lower on films like this that don't really have a theatrical backing to it or anything like that, this one still got like a 6.7, which is pretty average for IMDb. That's the pretty average score. So yeah, it's probably a nice time at the TV screen, because it's not in theaters. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.